What's up, cloud heads? Welcome to Clouded Stocks, and thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, JJ Speculation, an earnings-focused day trader and swing trader. Now, we've got a simple mission over here, but I'll tell you, it sure ain't easy. We follow price and use the basic forces of supply and demand to show that armed with the right resources and mindset, anyone can learn to trade. Opinions are often wrong, so we cut the bias using ancient charting methods with candlesticks, Darvis boxes, volume, relative strength, and of course, the Ichimoku cloud. As always, this is not personal investment advice or a recommendation to buy or sell anything ever, which always involves risk. We only discuss our own market observations regarding stocks and things that we are interested in for our own personal accounts. This is no financial advisor. This is simply Clouded Stocks, the internet sensation for education and speculation. So let's boogie right on into today's episode. What's Love? Brought to you by Ito N Green Tea. When you need a little pick-me-up in your trading day and you're looking at Japanese candlesticks all day long, what's better than a little Japanese brewed fine maca imported straight from Japan? Ito En, you can get it all year long. And let's get into the episode, folks. All right, and jumping in, since this is our very first chart that we're going over through on the show, I just want to focus on what exactly we are looking for in a stock chart. We're going to start with the NASDAQ 100 QQQ, and this is showing us a perfectly bullish setup, and these are the things that we are going to consider when looking at the chart. So last 3 months of QQQ, today is at its high point of the last 3 months. Now, we want to run through the chart one by one. We're looking for the stock price, this big bar, to be above the 9-period line and the 26-period line. Check and check. We're looking for the 9 to also be above that 26-period line and for the lines to be pointing upward. Check, 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 check. This Chiku line is a trailing price bar, trailing by 26 price point periods. We want that to be free, which means that it's above all of the price point bars. Check, this thing is ripping high and free above all of the price action below. This cloud here is forward-looking, gives you a look at what's going on in possibly the future based on price points from the past. And you want the stock price to also be above this cloud, and you want the cloud to be blue. Look, you can look all the way down here. You see a tiny little red tidbit of a cloud. That was long ago. That was in February, early February, and this thing's been ripping all the way ever since. So QQQ is about as healthy of a chart as you can get. Again, this show mainly focuses on the optimist side, on the bull side. Doesn't mean that we're permanent bulls, but that means that the main setups that we're looking for happen to be on the long side. But all of this information is relevant for whether you like to go long, short, you're an investor, you're a trader, whatever. This is all very relevant information. So that was a little longer than most of our charts, but it's got to show you exactly what we are looking for here. So now, SPY, in case we left anything out on QQQ, we'll go over it on SPY. Same checklist. Boom. 9-period, we're above that. 26-period, we're above that. Both pointing up flat-ish, but the Chiku, you could say that's absolutely free. We had a little red cloud earlier than we had it, or more recently, I should say, than we had it with QQQ. However, we are above this blue cloud here, so that is something that we definitely like to see on SPY. And look at this. I mean, distribution days, refresher, those are selling days with red volume exceeding the previous day of buying. But we've had some accumulation here recently as well, and today's high price of $420.77 did shoot over the high price from $519, which was $420.72. So $420, hey, seems to be a key price here on SPY. So let's see what happens. Do we build out a handle here? Do we digest some of these big moves that have gone on recently? It's tough to say. I mean, SPY is so, QQQ for that matter as well. They are both so heavily weighted with large cap tech, which is not necessarily the whole entire market, as we're going to get to on this next chart, IWM. IWM, a little bit more small cap. entrepreneurial companies, possibly, more so the backbone of America, is the little guy. So IWM, a much, much different chart here. Now, you could still see that the 9 is above the 26 period. That's nice, but we're kind of stuck in no man's land with the price bar. Now, we did get an interesting one today, stuck right in between the 176.35 and the 174.66 price of the 9 and the 26 period bar. Let's see, did we close? Yeah, we closed right in between there, and we're right stuck in the middle of this big red cloud, as you can see on the screen. So a much different look than QQQ and SPY, which were much more bullish. This is looking a lot more bearish, and it's for a lot of your little guys, smaller cap companies, as I mentioned. Chiku, it wants to get free. It was kind of poking up after today, but it hasn't really released above those price bars. The Darvis box, something that we haven't mentioned, is going to be a high price point from a recent relative period. What is it? 180.53, haven't cleared there. And then we set a low, not on Friday, but on Thursday, we set that low of 172.7. So all around, kind of showing us a little bit of no man's land on IWM. Art K, this is going to be also kind of a high flyer, tech sort of space, Coinbase, your Teslas, that sort of thing. Let's get Art K loaded up here and see what Miss Kathy Wood has been up to with her fund. Looking at a inside day. I believe this is our first inside day that we've seen on one of these charts. Zooming in real quick, and then we'll zoom back out. Inside day is going to be when we have not gone above or below the previous candlestick. So Thursday, you got here this big red guy. Friday, we got the wick above, tried to shoot up and go above, but it did not. So it didn't go above the high of Thursday or below the low of Thursday, and we remain stuck in this red cloud, also kind of stuck in no man's land between the 9 period and the 26 period line. Yet you do have the 9 peaking above the 26 period. So a little bit for the bulls, a little bit for the bears, depending on how you slice it. This Chiku line, I like to see it. It's trying to shoot above. It's trying to get free. That's not a bad thing if you're on the bullish setup over here. And also, we got this forward-looking blue span from span A and span B. The future cloud is starting to turn blue, so it could be some greener tides ahead with those blue clouds. That's what we like to see up there. FFTY. FFTY is another guy here that, the IBD Innovator Top 50. This one's tough. We got sort of a similar look. However, the 9 is under the 26 period. They're both kind of pointing down, especially that 26 period. The Chiku is trying to shoot up, but yet it remains trapped underneath those price bars. So let's look at some individual stocks. We're going to hop over to ON Semiconductors, as well as AMD and NVIDIA in the semiconductor space. So as I mentioned with QQQ and SPY, controlled by some larger cap companies, it's been a lot of tech companies, it's been a lot of semiconductor companies. So as we slice into the individual stocks, we're going to look at 3 different semiconductor potential leaders of a possible bull run here. ON, wow, this guy was incredible today. You had about a few seconds in the morning, maybe a minute or two to catch this thing off the 9 period line, and then it was just an absolute rocket ship. Look at that volume below. Look at this relative strength line. Yet to mention this relative strength, but you want this thing to be at a high point. You want the stock to be at its high point, strong compared to the S&P 500, because what is strong can get stronger and have momentum, and those are the kind of plays that we're looking for. I admit I did miss this one this morning, but if you missed this one like me, you can see that on 5/18 we got a high of 87.07. We poked above that today, but closed below. So if this can handle out a little bit, possibly pull in, maybe get a little low volume pullback without a major sell-off, ON can still present another buying point. But congratulations if you caught this one. Amazing price today on semiconductors. AMD, wow, this one just won't quit. The mania is here. I'm not sure what you want to call it with the AI space, but the artificial intelligence wave has arrived, and it's starting to see some mania in the semiconductor space. So AMD could be one of those leaders. That's certainly what the market and the stock is telling us, and we're not going to fight that. Look at this thing, just boom, gapped up from 524 to 525, and then again from 525 to 526, which was Thursday to the Friday jump. So from Wednesday to Thursday to Friday, this thing has gone from a close of 108.27 to a close of 127.43, and the volume just keeps coming in. And talk about a bullish chart. I mean, look at this thing. The Chiku is just absolutely ripping here. The 9 period pointed straight up. 26 period pointed straight up. 9 is above the 26. Stock price is above both of these guys. Just absolutely incredible for AMD. What a true leader in the space. I traded this thing for a few points several weeks ago, and I'm kind of wishing I'd held this thing. NVIDIA. Wow. NVIDIA, what a monster earnings report. Talk about a gap up. This thing closed on 5/24 at 305.38. Next day opens up at 385.23. So nearly a $80 jump for NVIDIA. That was just absolutely incredible. They crushed their earnings report. Now we have an inside day for NVIDIA. So I'm sure the semiconductor space, those previous two names that we mentioned, are probably going to all sort of anchor together with the big dog, which of course is NVIDIA. So save the best for last. This guy is absolutely incredible. Again, a closer look at the inside day. Friday, which was yesterday, has not gone above the high or below the low of the previous day, Thursday. So, I mean, again, if it can explode above this high, which was 391.7, NVIDIA can get cooking again. And just this is a time where what makes sense isn't always what the market's going to do. You look at the PE of the company, you look at what it should do or what it ought to do based on da-da-da-da-da. It doesn't really matter. There's an ultimate mania right now for the AI space, and the semiconductor leaders can keep pumping as long as there's going to be big money behind them. And that is clearly what's coming into NVIDIA, AMD, and ON Semiconductors. Upstart. Let's look at a little banking company over here, one of the financial wizards of the market. Upstart has been getting some really nice accumulation over these last couple of weeks here, pretty much all throughout May. It topped out at $29.99 almost perfectly and has pulled back ever since. Now you can see that it's kind of had a little date with its 9-period line there. Let's zoom back out. Yeah, had a little date with its 9-period line, but it was able to shoot back above today and close above that 9, which you can see is shooting up. The 9 is above the 26. Our Chiku is most definitely free here, and we're way above the cloud. So Upstart's been a pretty awesome story for going from 1193 low. What was that on this month? That was on 5/3, and then it's already doubled this month. So now it's kind of forming a high tight flag where if this can pull in, maybe get a low volume pullback like we discussed a moment ago, Upstart could really take off and really be a true leadership stock. Last but not least, Celsius. Boy, I love this stuff. Huge fan of the product. The stock, been a little bit doggier. It just dropped under this 9-period line, and the 9-period line has just started to point down as well. Our Chiku line is also dropping. However, it's really not that big of a deal because volume has not been too significant on this one. So you'd like to see it get back above the, 132.02 of the 9-period line, and perhaps it can really get moving from there. But Celsius, probably my least favorite of these companies right now. There are some consumer goods and kind of consumer discretionary sort of stocks that I'm interested in, but perhaps that'll be another time. All right, you guys, that was this week's episode. What's love? Thank you so much for tuning in. Please launch us a like button if you enjoyed the content. This is just my wife and I shooting this material. There she is right behind the camera. And we're just getting started. So subscribe, share it with anyone who you think will find this as relevant. And remember, you can use the hashtag CloudedStocks to find our material at CloudedStocks on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Shoot for the stars, and maybe you'll just, who knows, end up above the clouds. Take care, folks.